Hi, and welcome back to another in the editing series of Editing Elvis. This is the third in the series. I didn't really realise that I had taken that many pictures. And I really haven't. There's only 710. That's not too bad. Anyway, if you watched the last episode, we done the first half of the GraceLand mansion. In this one, we'll continue with the second half of the GraceLand mansion. And I call it a mansion because it's 17,000 square foot. What else would you call that? To me, it's a mansion. So without further ado, we've got Lightroom back up and running. Head over to the develop module and let's start editing these pictures. Now, as you'll remember from the last episode, we've just been downstairs in the basement, done the pool room, his juice bar, etc. His 3 television private relaxation room. And we've just come back upstairs to the main level. I'm hearing a buzzing. Anyway. So this is one half of his main room, and as you can remember from the previous video, this, I'm not entirely sure if it's shag carpeting, whatever type of carpeting this is. It's on the floor and on the ceilings. It's there to absorb sound because Elvis actually used this room to record music in sometimes. This is a light fitting. Excuse me, I'm not entirely sure why I took that one, just get some detail, I suppose. Now, all the furniture in this room was imported from Hawaii, which is why you see a lot of wood and a lot of carvings. If any of you are Elvis fans, you'll know that he actually loved Hawaii. Played there a few times. I think he actually made a movie in Hawaii as well. See if we can dehaze this a bit and get... we're not going to get much in that window, and that window's kind of blowing things out. You can see here from the spike on the histogram, that's this window. But we can ignore that, and we fairly much just want the furniture in this room. That is a cat's head. With a weird, I don't know, beak, I suppose. Anyway, that looks okay, so we'll take that one, export. Couch that he used to sit and relax on. This is starting in the other half of the room. The cat's head is about sort of here. We can bring up the exposure on that a tad and bring down the whites and the highlights, and then dehaze it, and maybe even see through the windows a bit. Yeah, big spike blowing out the windows, but that's enough detail in that picture. I mean, that looks, there we go. That looks fine. Now this chair that we're focused in on was one of Lisa Marie's I think it's Lisa Marie, his daughter's favourite chairs, and Elvis and Lisa used to sit in that all the time. This is actually one of her original teddy bears, and this is Elvis's guitar. Again, the monkey. Elvis owned a monkey. And look at this gorgeous table. I love that. Fits in nicely with the decor on the room. There we go, bring down the highlights and you can actually see through the window. Up with the clarity a bit. Elvis used to sit in this chair when he was doing his recording sessions and play and sing and whatever else you do when you're recording an album or a song. I also mentioned in the previous video, but I'll mention it again. As you can see, this chair is absolutely huge. So wide, in fact, and it's just one big piece of wood, really, as you can see there. Can we scroll up a bit? All nicely ornamental and carved. But it was so big they couldn't fit it in the actual door. So they had to remove this window here to get the chair in and then replace the window. It was the only way to get that chair in the house. So even if you own a mansion, you can still run into problems trying to decorate it. Bring up the highlights, bring down the whites just a tad, and that looks quite good. We'll take that. Another picture of the chair, just zoomed in a bit more for a bit more detail. There we go. Now the fireplace, well, it's not really a fireplace, but the wall, I suppose, is actually a fountain. Which I'm sure must have been nice and relaxing. There we go, that looks okay. Picture of the monkeys. As I said, he owned a monkey. This is just a wide angle of the room. Another absolutely gorgeous chair, ornamental type wooden chair. And you can see the water just running down the wall. Apart from the carpet and the carpeting on the roof, this is a gorgeous room. I love it. Touch, and then we can actually bring up the exposure a bit. There we go. Another wide angle. This one was taken at 28 mils. This was taken at 24. So just a slightly wider angle of the same thing. I'm not going to edit this one. 24 mil looking into the other room with another juice bar with a decanter and crystal glasses. Yeah. And I think this one says, oh no, the one in plain said Scotch. That one was just another crystal decanter. Coat of arms on the wall. We're going to actually need to increase. Maybe a bit too much. There we go. But you can see the sort of wear on the chairs. This was a very livable. I mean, he was basically imprisoned in his house and his gardens. So everything you see here got used a lot. There we go. Dehaze that a touch to get rid of the green. That works. There's that gorgeous coffee table I was talking about. Jaguar. Alright, this was a turtle elephant. Or just an elephant. Not sure. Tiger in the background. We didn't really get told that much about some of the things in here. We did get told about the main chair, that he used this as a recording studio sometimes. But the guy didn't go through each and every single piece of furniture. We'd be there for days. Yep, that looks good. Oh. This is the, I don't know if you call it a wailing wall. It's just a close-up of the wall with water running down it, in place of, I suppose, a fireplace. Again, the chair and the footstool, we've already covered that. Now this is, that room there covers these two, this area of the house. So we come along and we come outside. This is obviously the back of the house. And I'm still at ISO 6400. Did I take another shot at a lower ISO? No, I didn't. Okay, this one is slightly overexposed, so let's bring it down a tad. Bring down the whites. Shouldn't need to push the shadows much at all. And you can see where the original house sat and what Elvis actually added onto it. This was an addition to the house. This wasn't part of the original house. And so was this walkway that I'm under. You can just see the awning here, or the roof, whatever it's called. Shadows a touch, and you can see into the windows a little bit. So this one, just different angle. This here is what is called his trophy room. Again, another addition to the property. This was a garage slash squash court. Lisa Marie's playground or swing set. He had a stable back here with horses. One of his prized animals, I suppose, was his horses. He loved horses. Not going to develop these and post these. Actually, I suppose I should. Shouldn't take long. These are still over bright. Still ISO 6400, so really shouldn't take much to touch that little bit, dehaze it. There we go, export. So there's that one, the wide angle of, yeah, showing the Lisa Marie's playset and the field. Go a little bit another way. Bring up the shadows and get more detail in the trees, but then you need to bring down the highlights and the whites. Touch up the color a little bit and oops. Dehaze it. Yeah, it works. Not the best. Still at 64,000. Now we're full stop overexposed. Now this entranceway here we'll get onto in a second. This is interesting. So this is Lisa Marie's. If I'm wrong about Lisa Marie, I apologise. I can't remember which one was Priscilla and which one was Lisa Marie. One was his wife, one was his daughter, I know that much. But as I said, I'm not a big Elvis fan. I keep getting those two mixed up. I'm fairly sure Priscilla was the wife. And this is Vernon's office. Vernon was his father, and also, I suppose the best way to describe it would be his manager as well. Vernon kept, I wouldn't say kept hold of the money, but Vernon done the finances for Elvis. That was part of his sort of job description. These are actually original. These aren't the museums. These are actually the original to Elvis, even although it's got Sony on it. Behind this whole room is covered in, or there's a sheet of plexiglass here, which is why you get a lot of shadows. I'm not gonna take that, but here we go. All this is original except for this TV, which the museum had a loop going on. This was apparently a fairly famous interview that Elvis gave, and it was from this room. It was recorded in this room. What am I looking for? Fit. These are fan sent pictures and engravings and stuff. These weren't anything that Elvis ever had commissioned. This was just fan artwork. I really need to scroll out that bit. Obviously a younger fan. And the missing part of that. But anyway, this is Vernon's office. Now, Vernon was instrumental in getting Elvis's body back to GraceLand. Let's cool that bit and try and get rid of some of the yellow that's in there. A bit too blue, that's about right there. As you heard from on a previous introduction, when Elvis was first interred, he was interred at a mausoleum, and the night he got buried, basically, two people tried to steal the body. Because of that, Vernon went to work quickly and got permission to move the body to GraceLand, so that nothing like that would ever happen again. The two people did get caught, they got arrested. When they got asked why they were trying to steal the body, they said that they were going to ransom it back to the foundation. old typewriter, phones all over the place, filing cabinets, files. These are all original, not been touched. But this is all, you can see some of the glare. This is all behind plexiglass now, so that it gets preserved exactly the way it was. There we go, that looks good. This is the wide angle of the whole room. This interview just goes on a complete loop. One of the amps that Elvis actually used, I never did get the story behind the scales, why there was a set of scales here from the official. His name was Frank. Great guy. If you're ever going and you want a tour, try and get on a tour with Frank. Wonderful tour guide. But somebody else told me, and it makes sense, that this was actually used for postage. Whenever you're mailing something out, you had to weigh it. So yeah, totally makes sense. Set of scales was for postal. It's a close-up of the set scales. Again, this is all art. Every piece of art in here is from fans. It's fan artwork. This is Vernon's actual main desk. Telephone, pencil sharpener, light. I think this is just a decorative piece, I'm not sure. And gold plated pen that he used to sign checks, etc. with on behalf of Elvis. I'm going to do that. Now, in the next room, this is an unfinished room. It's just a small model of Elvis's birthplace in Tupelo. And as you can see from the model, they don't actually have the swing in it. These were just knickknacks found in the gun room, the shooting room. Never really got told much about them. I don't know if they were used for target practice or why they were hanging up like that. There's a couple of bikes on the other wall. We never actually got told that. This is a front view of this. Unfortunately, the plexiglass just totally obliterated it. These are actual bullets, shell casings that Elvis used when shooting on this gun range. Now, both Elvis and Vernon used this range, so how they can actually tell that this was bullets that Elvis used as opposed to other people that also used the range, I'm not sure, but apparently these were bullets from Elvis. And as you can see, some of them haven't actually been shot. Small 22s. But this is bullets from Elvis. Actually, I don't want to straighten that. Let's straighten that a bit. There we go. That's better. Yeah, overwrite. And there's the plaque saying exactly what this building was. The smokehouse and gun range. Oh, 2 videos. Interesting. Now, Elvis had stables back here, kept horses. One of his horses, Morning Sun, Sky, something Sun. Oh, for the life of me, I can't remember what it was called. Morning or Sun or something like that. Was Elvis's favourite, and he used to ride them around the back. This obviously isn't that horse. That horse died. But they still keep horses here. This one isn't too, shall we say, crowd friendly, and tends to, I suppose, just the sheer amount of people that go through GraceLand. Maybe still hasn't got used to the amount of people and the noise. But she stays fairly much behind this fence and just wanders around and grazes and exercises, but stays away from the people. Another shot of the back of the house, a little patio area that he used to come to. There's the recording studio slash secondary living room, and a big tree in the way. So we're not going to develop that. This is another one of the stable and the horse. This was actually his racquetball room. That's right, it wasn't a garage. This was his racquetball room. And his workout room. I keep wanting to say garage, but it's not. It's a workout room. We'll get inside that in a second. This is just the outside shot of it. And of course, a very interesting story with regards to Elvis when it comes to this building right here. A very important story when it comes to Elvis. Cancel, let's just straighten this a tad. go. Okay, so a wider angle shot at the back of the house. You can see some people that are here on the tour. This part of the tour, for the most part, anybody can go on. The main difference between what I went on and what most people go on was I had a private, well, it wasn't private, there was what, 7 in the group that got invited on this tour, and we actually had somebody from the museum take us around and explain everything to us, rather than just going around and seeing for yourself. We actually had a proper tour guide. Little Frank, nice fellow. I think it's just another, yeah, just another shot at the back. The awning used to use to get to the trophy room and also out to the racquetball court. You can see it in this one here. This is just again a different angle. That's actually a not too bad shot. Let's quickly, we're down to 3200, so not quite as blown out, but still a little bit. Bring up the shadows so we can see underneath here. There we go. This is just a picture of, we're now in the trophy room. This is a picture of Elvis's bed from the house in Tupelo, where he was born. This is Elvis's original room. And here is his birth certificate. Do I get a slightly better shot of that? Not really. So yeah, this is the Elvis's original birth certificate. Bring up the shadows a tad. Highlights down. Let's see if we can get rid of some of the reflection, or at least cancel the reflection out. So where dehaze comes in nicely. There we go. Father V.E. Presley, Vernon Presley. Full name of child, Arn Presley. It's pictures of Elvis as a child, Elvis growing up. Ooh. Where are we at? 5.6? Not very interesting. This is the family Bible. I think there's going to be too much. We'll try and get rid of... We're getting rid of some of the reflection on that. There we go. This was another Bible. Jane Presley's Bible from 1869. This I found funny. Vernon Presley's W2 for the year 1943. He made a whole $352, and out of that paid a whole $13.60 in tax. From the Moss Point shipyard, $13.60 for a year. This is for a whole year. I think I pay that in an hour now. But then again, there's a whole big difference between 1943 and 2017. We can actually do with brightening that up a touch. There you go. So this is his father's W2 from 1943. And this is one of his payslips, where in 1943 he made $66.30. Dated June the 13th. Now from 1943 he made $352. This one payslip is $66. Never actually got told when Vernon sort of started and ended at the shipyard, but I'm sure you can do the math. If you're earning $66, chances are it was per week. Then you weren't there for the whole year if you only made $360 in the whole year. This is Elvis's family tree. Father, grandfather, parents. This is his mother. Father's mother. What's that? Grandfather? Grandmother? Grandmother? Yeah, grandparents. Anyway. You get the point. This is his family tree. This is the Presley family. It's also slightly interesting to note that there's only 2 colour pictures out of all these. Well, 3 if you include this one, but out of the actual family tree, there's only 2 coloured pictures. Everything else black and white. You could actually do with Take down the highlights there, and that works. Excuse me. Knickknacks from his original home in Tupelo. Trousers, I think that was the very first radio we ever listened to. A picture of his mum and dad. Oh, it's home movie footage. A picture from a home movie. Not that interesting. This is Lisa Marie's, his daughter's jacket. Not extremely interesting, but we'll process it anyway. There we go. This is just a different angle of the previous photograph that we saw. It's mother's dress, father's shorts, knickknacks that they had. This chest here, when they moved from Tupelo to Memphis, this chest held all their belongings. Absolutely everything that they owned fit in this one chest. And as you can see, it's not big at all. Now, of course, as Elvis got famous and got money, that chest fits inside just about everything else that Elvis owns. Tax return from 1947. Can we make it out? $3,035. From a year later, 1948, 1947. Is this another tax return, 1953? Yeah, another tax return from 1953, where it didn't make. It's about the same, $3,295. So, a couple of tax returns. These are Vernon's tax returns, not Elvis's, obviously. $3,000 a year. Just a different angle on the tax return. This was a plaque. And this thing is absolutely huge, by the way. It's about 3-4 feet tall. Do I get another? No, that's the only shot of that one that I got. This was presented to him from the people of Memphis, Tennessee. And all these different plaques on it are places that Elvis regularly donated to. At least once a year, Elvis, he was a philanthropist. He did give money to charities and places in need. And in recognition, he received this big trophy, I suppose you could call it, in return. Yeah, each one of these, Bill St. Elk, Cynthia Milk Fund, Family Services of Memphis. Every year Elvis, or Vernon, since Vernon actually handled the money, gave to these charities. This one is invoices for some of his furniture. A Chinese imported candy jar in the breakfast that we saw earlier cost $19.95. Delivered to the Presleys at GraceLand. A black figurine in the break front, $15, etc., etc. 4 black stands. So essentially what you could say is, this is Golden's of Memphis. This is where Elvis went shopping. And it's just, I took a picture of this because it's interesting that we've actually seen these things previously whilst we were wandering through the house, and this is the invoice for them. This was Elvis's keys to GraceLand. Straighten that up, get rid of the highlight. Now, you would think that, you know, Elvis being Elvis wouldn't actually need keys to his house. There's going to be security guards on duty or somebody to let him in. Priscilla, chances are Priscilla was out there, but just like any other normal person, I suppose, Elvis carried around the keys to his house, and this is what those are. And there's a plaque that goes with it, Elvis's keys to GraceLand, just in case you didn't believe me. Now I'm editing these pictures whilst they're still fairly fresh in my mind and I can remember the stories that go along with them. But this is one of the reasons that I love when I take a picture of something, if there's a plaque alongside it, I take a picture of the plaque, because in a year, 2 years time or something, that's just going to be a picture of keys and I'm going to be wondering, why did I take a picture of keys? This is why I took a picture of those keys. This was a check to Mr. Richardson for $60 even. I took a picture of this. It was something to do with the National Bank of Commerce and I can't remember why. No. But that had some significance to something more than who Mr. Richardson was. Oh, what happened there? There we go. Ghosts in my Lightroom. Now, Elvis liked his toys, and slot cars was a big thing back in the 70s, I suppose. 70s, 80s, I suppose 70s. And he had a full track set up. These are some of the parts of the track. The museum, the foundation, has the full track stored somewhere. But these are some of the cars and a couple of pieces of the track that Elvis used to go, I suppose you could call it racing. It's not really racing, but pretend racing on. Apparently it was quite a large track and quite intricate, but then Elvis had the money to do that kind of thing. Another check, as you can see, it's signed by Vernon, not Elvis, because Vernon handled the money. For $1,000 even to... Oh, this is for the house. And this is the deed to the house. As I said, on part 2 of editing Elvis bought GraceLand for $100,000 and he had to give a down payment of $1,000 for the house. This is the down payment for GraceLand itself, and here's the deed to GraceLand. So this is the original check to buy GraceLand, and I think in the next picture lighten that up a bit. This is mainly focused on the check, and in the next picture I'm fairly sure is the deed. Blah blah blah, Vernon. Does it actually say? It doesn't say GraceLand. But this is the deed to the house. This is basically, if you own this sheet of paper, you own the house. Small video clip. A drawing of the entryway. We saw the stairs earlier with the chandelier and the two one-way mirrors. This is stained glass and the check that goes along with it. $55,000 to the William Morris Agency. And this one, as you can see, is actually signed by Elvis and not Vernon. Which made this one slightly interesting. Let's actually crop this. Right there. Because that's real. Don't care about the frame, just want the check. Just, oh, there we go, we got one uncropped of the check. A letter of basically goodwill, building something for a school. 1,400 tickets to a concert that Elvis held to raise money for some charity for the blind. Different one, the same thing. Bob Hope USO in support of the troops for $5,000. As well as being, well, Elvis was in the military. He didn't shun his duties just because he was sort of rich and famous. So Elvis was a big supporter of basically the military. And this is Priscilla's wedding dress. Now this, Elvis had a lot of money when he got married. He was fairly famous at that point. But this dress, you would think it would get custom made, custom fitted, etc. It wasn't. They went shopping and bought this off the rack in some shop, which was kind of interesting. Now the place that we're in, the trophy room, also doubled as the wedding reception. This is where Elvis actually had his wedding reception, was in this building. There's a, actually that's a better one, the wedding dress. You can see everything. This is the suit that Elvis wore. I think I've got a separate one of that coming up. Contrast, clarity, we can actually increase slightly but bring down the highlights. Get rid of the yellow. It's a bit better. Yeah, Priscilla's dress was an off-the-shelf, just walk into a store, find something that you liked and fitted, and boom, there you go. Off-the-peg wedding dress. Elvis's suit, however, wasn't. Elvis's suit was custom made. So this is the suit, boots, bow tie, everything that Elvis got married in. It's a shame I've got a reflection going on here, but didn't really come out. This was a leftover bottle of champagne from the actual wedding. That's why this is interesting. This is his wedding day champagne. 1/13 of a second. That's why it's slightly blurry. Yeah, we're not going to take that one. Are these the engagement ring? So as you can see here, it's a 2.17 carat centered diamond. We get at $3,000. Fancy guard with cut diamonds, blah blah blah. Total price of the ring $3,639, including tax. So these are Priscilla's and Elvis's engagement rings. This is Lisa Marie's original crib. with the sheep on the side. Some pictures, some paintings of GraceLand, and this one is an actual Thomas Kincaid, very famous artist. Picture of GraceLand. Can we cut out some of the glare on this? Not really. Way too blue. 3400, that's about right. And of course, the famous pink Cadillac with Elvis, Priscilla and Lisa Marie. Oh, it's Elvis, Priscilla and some Christmas presents. I guess Lisa Marie wasn't born at that point. My mistake. Some more artwork of that's Elvis, and that is Lisa Marie. Elvis didn't have any of these commissioned. Is this one the Thomas Kincaid? This one's the Thomas Kincaid. With the gates. Elvis and Priscilla. As I said just a moment ago, let's take this down to a little bit too much the other way. There, that's about right. Thomas Kincaid is a very famous painter, artist in America. There's part of the wall that he paid, was it $60 for? A little bit better, we still get glare, but you can't have everything. That's his mother. Back to this picture of the three of them. Elvis and Lisa Marie. A couple of more pictures of GraceLand. This is the desk that Elvis actually used when he was, again, always reading, but when he used to sign things and do paperwork and whatever, this is Elvis's actual desk. And of course we've got reflections going everywhere. Just try and cut them out, or at least reduce them a bit. Reduced a touch. Picture of Elvis. Elvis's love seat he used to sit on. It was in his office, along with, look at this light. This is gold plated, it's not pure gold. This is gold plated with apparently real gemstones. Light fixture. Absolutely gorgeous. A video. Elvis again. This one you get more of the light, and then we have one just of this light chandelier. This is from Elvis's, as I say, work office. Rather than using just sort of normal bulbs in this museum, they should really use just white light, not yellow light. Just from a selfish point of view. And there's the plaque that goes with it, is the love seat. Not gonna post that. This was a poem that was actually penned by Vernon to Elvis. This is the horse that he absolutely loved. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name. It was Morning Sky or something Sky. But Elvis loved this horse. To Yessa. It's not a spelling mistake. This was Elvis's pet name for Lisa Marie, was Yessa. I love my Lisa Daddy. From Long Beach Arena. Wednesday, the November 15th, 1972. Dehaze that so that this stands out a little bit. Export, export. Elvis with some of his guns and also silencer, which is kind of now illegal. And of course, Elvis's badges. With, now was it this one in the center? Either this one or this one was the one that was presented to him by President Nixon. If you've ever seen the movie, is it Elvis versus Nixon, Nixon versus Elvis? Actually a true story, and it's either this one here or this one here is the actual badge that was given to him. And it's not a real badge, but it's a real badge, but it's not an actual, what was it? It wasn't CIA, DEA I think it was he wanted style badge. dehaze that. Can we get rid of a little bit of the reflection? Yes, we can. Okay, there we go. So it's this one here. The Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, basically the DEA. This is the actual badge to Elvis Presley that the President of the United States, Richard Nixon, specially had made just for Elvis. Los Angeles, he's an inspector at Knoxville. Sahara, Lake Tahoe in Sahara or something. Dehaze and get rid of the reflections as much as we can. But there you go. There is the actual badge from the, well, not from the movie, this is the actual original badge. And there's some more. Captain of Denver Police, Oklahoma City, Cincinnati, Sergeant in Norfolk. I'm not the big, as I say, Elvis history or Elvis anything person, and I honestly couldn't tell you why he wanted and loved these badges, but he obviously did. They were special to him. If you know the answer to that, please write it in the comments below. I'd be interested to know why he had such an interest in police badges. There's some more badges. I'm not going to do every single one of these. Some patches, California Highway Patrol, Long Beach, Mississippi. I didn't know there was a Long Beach in Mississippi. Anyway, Sacramento, Spindale, Sheriff of Canada. Not quite sure how that one works. Cleveland, Atlanta Police. Special Deputy for Marshall, Missouri. And there's Elvis and his friends with all their badges. Elvis wasn't the only one that actually got these badges. He made sure that the people that basically travelled with him all got badges as well. Let's see if we can dehaze this one. That looks... there's a lot of glare on that. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Wow, we need to dehaze that a lot. But you see what happens? It makes it much clearer, not as much glare. Whoops, that's the wrong one. What was I doing? Oh yeah. Trying to get rid of the yellow tint on it. There we go. This is one of Elvis's pistols. Custom made, Presley gripped I'm thinking it's a 9mm. Pistol, but Elvis apparently did actually not just carry this gun around, but he actually shot it. We're getting the yellow light creeping back in, so let's... There we go. Not quite a driver's license. Again, sticking with the police theme. And whenever, and here we go, not quite a driver's license. Elvis Presley, captain of the Denver Police Department. Whenever apparently Elvis travelled on tour doing concerts, he took these with him. And if he was in, for example, Denver, he would actually have this on his person. Again, the why, I don't know. I don't know why he had such a thing for police badges and IDs. I'm just telling you essentially what I got told on the tour. Now this is a more modern picture of, I want to say that is Lisa Marie at Disneyland. And it's a family picture showing that the house still actually does get used occasionally by the family, or the modern family, or whatever. Now this one, this is an absolutely huge portrait, and this is apparently one of the only pictures that Elvis commissioned. It cost $10,000. Brighten this up, we need to get rid of that spot if it will come out. It cost $10,000 for the commission. It was some famous artist. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but he was famous. Every painting that he done had clouds in it, and Elvis loved the symbology of it, so Elvis actually had this painting commissioned. It's about 6 or 7 feet high, and it's always lived in the trophy room because it doesn't fit anywhere else in his house. It's always been here. Now the commission was just the commission for the artist. The actual painting cost another, I want to say it was another 6,000 on top of the original 10,000 commission. But this is the only one that Elvis actually had commissioned. All the rest were fans or other people just painting and giving him pictures. This is the only one he actually, I suppose, bought himself. And that, I think, was the end of the tour inside. Yes, it was. The trophy room. Outside, just like any other rich person, his own private pool. Very small pool, but it does go down here where the diving board is. It's actually 10 feet deep. Now this was his mother's tombstone. All marble, and in the intro to one of the previous videos you'll hear the guide Frank talk about this piece, and yeah, it's a lovely piece, and I bet you expensive as all get out. But the Presley is his mum. Mother, yeah. Little cherub statue. The fountain in the meditation garden, nice and peaceful, and in the background you see the graves. Of course, the one with the eternal light, you know whose that is. So is this a better picture of it? Oh, it's just a closer picture. Let's do this one. There we go. This, of course, oh, there's a front-on statue of the statue. Excuse me. Now, something else I didn't know about GraceLand is... Okay, that was meant to be straight. It looks like it's leaning right. Let's take the angle from someplace else. Now it looks like it's leaning left. So apparently we got it straight in the first place. Yeah, something else that I didn't know about GraceLand, including that you could actually write on the wall, was that between, I think it's 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the morning, they open the meditation garden up to everyone. You don't need to buy a ticket to get in, so that you can come and pay your respects to Elvis. So here I'm just waiting in line. Finally we went from ISO 6400 down to ISO 200. That's why you're seeing a big difference in lighting. All the graves in a line. And then we get on to the individual one. So let's do this one. maybe it's just me, I'm not entirely sure who Jessie Garden Presley was. So you'll have to excuse me for this one. But this is just pictures of the individual gravestones. Then on to his mother. Gladys. I'm trying to hurry my way through this. There we go. His father, Vernon. Do I get straight on one of Vernon? I'm sure I do. Which one's better? This one, the wider. Excuse me. The wider one. Now, Elvis apparently had a brother, I want to say, who is interred at some graveyard someplace. Vernon tried to get the brother's remains taken and buried here in a sort of family plot before he died. But they couldn't positively identify the remains of the brother, and therefore couldn't actually move. That's actually a quite good single shot. And couldn't actually move the body in with the rest of the family, which is kind of sad, to be honest. If you can't positively identify a body. And then Elvis is, I know we got a straight shot of Elvis. Elvis Aaron Presley. Almost perfectly straight as well. So this is the culmination of the GraceLand tour, is visiting Elvis's gravesite. I previously told you about them two people trying to steal the body after he died. This inscription was actually written by Vernon, his father. There's a better shot of that. Yeah, there's a better shot. What am I looking for? And as you can see, the queue of people waiting just to see, or just to pay their respects, I suppose, to Elvis. Now Vernon had to work quickly to get all the proper paperwork, etc. done to be able to bury Elvis within GraceLand, because it's obviously not a cemetery. But he managed to get it all done. And lastly we have Minnie Mae. Now when Priscilla dies, she's still alive. I wonder, they can make room. I wonder if she'll want to be buried here. I don't know. That's a very personal decision for her. I don't see why not, but then again, things happened. And here we are back at the front of GraceLand. So there we have it. Editing GraceLand Part 3, or Part 2 of editing GraceLand itself. Part 3 of editing Elvis. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And we'll see you in the next video where we start going through the actual Elvis Museum.